everyone, and welcome to another episode of Little Give. Today, we're going to meet with Jessica. Jessica's not just an amazing person, but she's also a friend of mine, and she's on my board of directors for Driving Single Parents. I'm so excited to peel back the layers of her and her story. You're going to love it. Jessica, go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from. Tell us what you're all about.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Aponte. I am the founder and CEO of Power and Presence, LLC. Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, by way of San Antonio, U.S. Army, and all of the parts. I am I am a only daughter who lost her father, but came from nothing to something, and just really want to continue to live that way and give forward to everyone else.
Well, saying that you've come to something is an understatement. You're such an incredible person. There's so many things that you've done, not just to help others, but to give back. And you're just such a great friend. Why don't you tell the audience about a little bit of your backstory, like where you've come from, where you're going to next? Give us a little bit more detail.
So I came from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. My life is absolutely full of its ups, downs, and all arounds. I raised myself in the streets, honestly, of the projects in Brooklyn. Then came to San Antonio, Texas at the age of 18 to live with my father. And that's kind of when my life sort of took a different turn. I did go through a lot of different types of abuse, from sexual to domestic. But I always like to tell people that although I endured so much trauma, I have so much triumph. I served my country. I was a soldier in the United States Army, and I have a bachelor's of science in psychology and a minor in sociology. I'm a businesswoman. And the biggest thing I always want people to know is that if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. Like you're talking about how you had to raise yourself in the streets of Brooklyn and then you become a soldier. Tell us a bit about that's a bit of a leap. Tell us a bit about how that came to be.
Um, Funny story, actually. So only one person in my family was in the Army, and that was my father's cousin. I really just needed a big change. I knew that I wanted to give more to my children, and that was the best way I felt. And I was underestimated. Literally, my father, my cousins, they had a bet going that I wasn't going to make it because I was very much the New York mentality, people would call it. So very hard head, stubborn, wouldn't take orders. But I'm also a person of a challenge. So I thought it was interesting that they had the little bet that I wouldn't make it. But ironically, of course, I did. And I wound up serving approximately 8 to 9 years, and always at the highest level in the Army. So a big jump, but I like to tell people that coming from where I came from was no different going into the military. There was a phrase I used to tell people, I was broken going into the Army, so there was nothing that could break me in the Army. So that's a big jump, but that's really the biggest reason.
I think it's interesting that you say it's so similar, like, you're already used to all of that, but it seems like raising yourself from kind of an unstructured environment to being in the military seems like such a big structured change. Was that a big shock for you, or was it easy to really get into?
It was a big shock, but it was something I needed.
Mhm.
So, on one end where people the bets were against me because, if other people who are in the military, they generally hear the same saying, oh, when you get in there, they're going to break you down to build you up. Well, I mean, again, I was already broken. So being in a structured environment was obviously something I really needed. And it was the best thing in my life, to be honest. I would say the best part of my life, giving back, but also just learning that structure, coming from no structure, no rules, no anything. But the Army is my second family.
Oh, that's amazing. So then what happened next? You get out of the military and tell us what happens next.
So I got married while I was in the military to my ex-husband. He was my best friend. And so I became sick. I was having depression and anxiety. I couldn't quite understand. And it came to a point where really I didn't know what I wanted to do anymore. I loved being in the military, but I was a mother also. And my ex husband was a soldier. So it was kind of that question of, well, they need us, and also the question of my own health. So I actually got a full medical retirement, and I'm probably the most open book. I actually do suffer from bipolar disorder, PTSD, anxiety, ADD. I like to call it a mixed bucket of chicken, but that doesn't define me. The army really helped me understand a lot about me.
I love the fact that you're so open about that because so many people suffer in silence. And so the fact that you're willing to share that and say, hey, I am a woman, I'm a Army veteran, I am, for the military, I've done all these things. And then to come out and talk about openly that you've struggled with some mental health conditions. I think that's so empowering for people who are out there listening, saying, if she can become a business owner and she can do all these things, I can too. I know that's a huge part of who you are, and showing other women and other people out in the world that they can do it too. Talk to us about what it is about you that makes you want to help people so much.
Wow. The same answer. When I grew up, I never, and I always seem to get this face. People tell me when they look at me when I say this. I never ever heard the words "you are worthy" ever, never in my life. So that's how I grew up. Like, oh well, I can't do this. It's impossible. But then I would kind of shift into this, like, well, it doesn't matter. Everyone will count me out regardless. So I'm just gonna try, but I'm going to try 10 times harder. So for me, the biggest thing is I know how that feels on a personal level, and I definitely know how it feels on a professional level. So anytime that I'm anywhere, whether even if I'm in an article or if I'm in person, whether you remember who I am, my name, or my business, I just want you to know that at the end of the day that you are worthy. You are worthy of anything and everything you believe you're not, and anything and everything you want to achieve. And because I know the feeling, I don't want other people to grow or live with that feeling of not ever hearing they're not worthy.
Wow. I mean, to share that is just to not ever have heard that you're worthy is just hard. I know there's a lot of people who live with that daily, and you are worthy, Jessica, and I know you know that today, but the fact that you ever had to feel like you weren't is really, really sad that some people have to go through that. And so the fact that you're willing to take your pain and turn it into power and purpose to help others, it says so much about you and your character. So now, we've talked about that you've grown through all these things. How is it that you're able to cope with all that you were going through and growing through with your mental health and all of that, and then be able to move on to the new things you're doing now? Tell us a bit about that journey.
It's not easy. So for those who think it is easy, no, it's not. Every day is a challenge. Every day I take it one day at a time, but every day is a new day. So there is no perfect day. But what I do is I always tell myself I can't change what happened yesterday, but I have the power to do something today. And I can't control what brings tomorrow. And I would say that the biggest thing that hit me was a year ago that really taught me tomorrow is never promised. So we really need to cherish every single waking moment we have, and be able to lay our heads down and say that we did our all, we left it all on the table. Or as my sons would always tell me, if you're going to get on the court, leave it all on the court, or don't get on the court at all, which they're all basketball players.
Yeah. You spoke about a year ago, a lot changed for you. You want to share with the audience a bit about what that shift was?
Yes. So last year, around June, July, I lived in Florida, and my father lived here in San Antonio, Texas. I've always been a daddy's girl. Um, we had a bit of a falling out, so it had been a while since I talked to my dad, and I was coming to San Antonio July 2024 for my grandson's birthday. And I sent my father an email prior to Father's Day telling him, I'm sorry, we've never fought this long. I love him and I can't wait to see him. He never got to read the email. I woke up one morning to a voicemail, and it was a hospital here, St. Luke's, that told me I needed to come right away, but they couldn't tell me anything. So I hopped on a plane in 2 hours. I arrived in San Antonio at 4 p.m. on a Tuesday, went straight to the hospital, and found out that my father was on life support. So, uh, as an only daughter, and in a matter of 48 hours, I had to make the hardest choice that I have to live with all the time. And I never want anyone to have to make that, to take my father off life support. But at the same time, kind of just deal with everything that else was going on. So that really was a big shift, and where it turns into where I am right now.
I remember us talking about this really difficult time in your life during that period. And I know that we really bonded over the fact that, I had lost my mom to COVID, and a very similar situation to kind of what you went through. And we, talked and kind of, um, felt all the pain together, and so I've always had a deep place in my heart for you because, we're both healing together, and it never goes away, but the healing happens as you grow. And so I'm so grateful that you were willing to share the story with the audience, because everybody's going through something, no matter what it is. And to always give love and grace, I think, is so, so important.
Definitely. And, I'm a writer by nature for people who don't know. So that's how I kind of get what I feel inside sometimes. And I actually was thinking of my father one night and asking him, why am I still here? What am I doing? Do I really want to do it? And I realized that, my father was suffering for 20 years with diabetes and heart, but he was really fighting for me, for his grandkids. And I guess I was so selfish and blinded because I'm a daddy's girl and I love my father. But ironically, I really feel and I believe wholeheartedly that me making that decision to have to take my father off life support, indirectly, I believe that my father was doing the same for me, because he's always told me, you're such a fighter and you're a survivor and you can do it. And of course, you hear these things, sometimes from your parents, or at least from my dad, because I was a daddy's girl. But I actually, I have that on a paper on my wall to remind me that I do believe that that was something my father was indirectly doing for me, and it just is not gonna be seen in the moment, but I do try to see it every single day. And I'm grateful to you, Cindy, and the Force magazine, because that is something that really helped me um, through that trying time, 2024. And I believe my father had a lot to do with that.
Hi, my name is Justin Clark, and I'm the president of the board of directors for Driving Single Parents, a 501c3 nonprofit serving the citizens of San Antonio and Bexar County, Texas. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the great work that our organization is doing for the citizens of San Antonio. What you're about to see is just a few photos and videos of the way that we're changing lives for single parents in and around San Antonio, Texas. Our first giveaway took place in April of 2017, just one short month after the formation of our organization. John, a Bexar County resident, was the victim of a horrible drunk driver incident. He and his daughter survived the crash, and we were so proud to give our first car to this deserving family. Fast forward to 2020, a very difficult year for nonprofits. We were able to secure 4 vehicles for single parents in need. Our organization, including our board of directors, list of partners, and portfolio of people we've been able to help in San Antonio, continues to grow, and it's all thanks to donors and local community organizations that have helped us along the way. This giveaway took place in 2021 and shows that we continue to help single parents even after the struggles brought about by COVID-19. Because of limited funds and the overwhelming need, we at Driving Single Parents are incredibly selective with the people we help. Some are victims of domestic violence. Others had a spouse pass away tragically or otherwise fell on hard times. These single parents show adversity in the face of challenge and aren't looking for a handout. We offer a hand up and help get them back in the driver's seat. Many of the single parents we help go on to graduate college, get promotions, get married, mentor others, and some have even been so touched by the gift we gave them that they have decided to join our board of directors to pay it forward and ensure the continued growth of our organization. If you would like to help our organization continue to grow and continue to help single parents in need in San Antonio, Texas, and Bexar County, Texas, we would really appreciate your support. Please visit us online at www.drivingsingleparents.org. Thank you.
Yep. And then I remember that as well. I remember that that was an exciting time for you where you were able to take some of that pain and kind of turn it into purpose. And you ended up writing in the Force magazine and you ended up being on our cover. And it was just such a beautiful image of you and your beauty and your brains and all the things that you bring to the table and the way that you so openly share the struggles and stuff you've been through and all the things that, you know, you're growing towards or getting towards. And I love that about you. Talk to us a bit about how that felt to be on that cover. I know that that was something your dad was really looking forward to you doing.
It was. I mean, being on that cover was huge because my father always said to me, I want to see you on the front of a magazine cover. And then I want to see it go you bestseller. And that's what I want. Like, you've already conquered, you were on a billboard. Like, I know you've got this. And, you know, in my headspace, I wasn't in that headspace. But again, when the cover came out and then later I find out it was a bestseller, again, it was humbling because I'm a humble person, but it was also, I just really feel it took me from a place of learning. Yes, I have a lot of accomplishments and achievements, and that Force magazine a year ago was my father just reminding me that I can, and there's no room for stopping. It's only room for continuing to move forward.
Absolutely. And I know it wasn't just the cover of Force. You've been on many covers and you've written many articles on many things. You've done so many great things. Talk to us a little bit about your new professional life, what you're working towards since you left the military.
So I remarried and I decided that I wanted to change my business name, although I've been in business, wow, almost 6 years now. And I wanted it to be Power and Presence because I wanted a legacy. I did not want it to be about me. So I pulled my name away from Jessica Dalby Brand Media. And the shift was not only a shift professionally in growth, but it was also a shift in the actual layers and foundation of Power and Presence. So essentially, that's not about me. Power and Presence and everything that I do is all about you. And it's about making sure that you understand that your story, no matter what it is, it impacts someone. Even if it's one person, your story, what you do is impactful. And that's the really the layer and the deep-rooted foundation of Power and Presence for people to know you are a purpose-driven, impactful person. And if you don't know Power and Presence, Jessica Aponte will tell you that.
I love that. And so you started PR, right? So your whole business is all based around PR. What made you make the shift to like want to go with PR of all things that you could have chosen?
That's a good question. Never asked that question. So thank you, Cindy. I actually I have a bachelor's of science in psychology and a minor in sociology. I've written all the time. I love to write. For those that don't know, I wrote poetry. I submitted a poem way before I entered the military into a poetry contest for giggles, because it was a poem I wrote for my father. And ironically, I was a semifinalist. So I've written all my life. However, as I was going through business, I also understood PR. And of course, I also hired a publicist. But again, in business, we learn because you have ups and downs. It wasn't the best experience, but I told myself, oh, I definitely can do this. So I'm going to learn it. So the shift into public relations was amazing. And it also allowed me to connect with so many different people, learn so many different things about them, about what they want to do. I mean, learned just about other people's cultures. So public relations is not just about visibility, but it's also about connecting and learning, and just understanding visibility is not vanity.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I learned in my journey through finding the nonprofit that I founded, was that you can have the best nonprofit in the world. You can have the best business in the world, but if nobody knows about it, then you're not going to be successful. And so PR is one of those things that kind of create that bridge between you and what you're trying to do to the other people who might be willing or interested in what you have to offer. Talk to us a bit about your program, how it runs, and how you set up the business to make sure it's in service of others.
So power and presence is essentially, I really like to tell you, it's kind of like an A to Z. Sometimes we have clients that come to us with, I just established my business, I'm not sure what to do. So from building infrastructure and, being very strategic consulting, everything is strategic, never going from A to C and missing B. So essentially, we will take you from where you are, meet you where you are, and what your goals are, and ensure that you are going upward in that trajectory for your business versus, kind of sometimes what we like to listen to is the outside noise. I'm a firm believer that I will tell you, not all PR is good PR. And sometimes you don't have to spend all this immense amount of money on PR. Educate yourself. And that's what I like to say about myself, that I always will educate someone first. I will never make it transactional.
Hi, my name is Andrew Fraley, and I believe that sometimes we all need a little bit of help. If you're in the San Antonio community and you need some legal help, call me at 210-725-4658.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's so true. When it comes to PR, it's hard to measure success, right? Because you have somebody saying, oh, it could take up to 6 months or a year before we really get traction. And so it's really hard with PR to know, like, am I being scammed, or is it really take a year to get an article in a magazine? So can you talk a little bit about that for maybe somebody, a business owner is out there right now trying to figure out what that next step is? Talk to them a bit about how you measure success.
So I personally always believe success is defined by the individual. I measure success by the success of my clients. And ironically, I believe that everything that I give is what makes me successful, which is why I'll never compromise my integrity or who I am, and why I am such an open book. Because at the end of the day, the only way we can truly understand if we need PR and exposure or visibility is to understand the reason why. So getting to the root cause. And again, everyone does different things and how they do them. But for me, I always like to make sure that any person, before spending this immense amount of money, understands that, okay, let's be smart and make sure that we're giving you the right visibility, because at the end of the day, I want to succeed, but I want my clients and anyone that are even friends or in my ecosystem to succeed. And that's even if I'm just sitting there and we're having a cup of coffee and they ask questions.
Yeah, I love that. You measure success based on the client's success, and that's the way it should always be. And in turn, whenever you help somebody else be successful, obviously, then the fees and you're charging are worth it, because that's what we all need. We all need to be successful, and we can be successful together, and everybody can win. So I love that you shared that. We talked a lot about your whole story. We kind of peel back the layers, like we always do on Little Give. Talk to us about how it feels to stand in the shoes that you're in this moment. You talked about where you've been and all the things that you've done. How does it feel to be Jessica Aponte right now in this moment? And how proud of yourself are you?
Oh, that is, I am absolutely proud and happy where I am today. Everything that I've gone through, all the layers we've peeled back, I wouldn't change any of them. Yes, I know it sounds absolutely, crazy, but I wouldn't, because it's made me the person that I am today. I remarried, yes, and my husband, I've known him for 22 years, but at the moment, it wasn't the time for us. So again, I'm extremely happy in my personal life. I am happy in my professional life. I am absolutely thrilled to be in San Antonio again, which I never thought I would be, and just learning so much more because, a lot. I'm very quiet in the back end, but there's so much more to come with Power and Presence, because that's a legacy brand. It's not just a standalone. It's not me.
I love that. Well, just from everybody over here at Little Give, I want to say you are worthy of everything that you're receiving, and you deserve every single solitary amazing blessing that you've gotten. With that being said, I want to move on to my Little Give questions. Can you give the audience an example of a little thing that they can do in their community that might just be a little give on their end, but might make a big impact on the other side?
To be honest, that's really, really a good question. But for me, it's probably the most simple question. We never know what anyone is going through. They could be smiling in front of you, but hurting inside. But if you pass them just a smile, or have a nice day, or acknowledging and saying hello, it actually is more impactful than we even can understand, because we don't know what that other person is going through, or if they just got a bad call or they got a great call. So just being kind to the next person is a small give with a big impact.
Simple kindness. I mean, it's something we can all do, and it doesn't cost them anything. Can you give the audience an example of a time in your life where somebody did something little for you that might have just been a little give on their end, but really made an impact on you and in your life?
There was a phrase, and I have a client, she's still a longtime client of mine, and she was there kind of when I was going through a lot. And there was a phrase that she told me. She said she would rather have 10 dimes rather than 4 quarters as friends. I never understood that, but that was such an impactful thing for me, because it made me understand that not everyone around me was really idealistically. So having 10 solid small friends that help contribute, just and pour into me personally or professionally, or even just believe in me the way she did, is big. Because of her, I actually started stepping into that power of saying, yeah, I know I can charge this, because I know that I'm worthy of that, and it's okay.
Great example. Can you tell the audience about a nonprofit that you're excited about?
I am. So I've actually been part of a different nonprofits. Right now, I am presently on the board of Driving Single Parents .org nonprofit here in San Antonio. Now, we all know who is the founder of this amazing nonprofit. And that would be the amazing Cindy here. I personally am grateful and honored that she extended that invitation to join the nonprofit for many reasons. From a personal aspect, I was a single parent at one time. And as a single parent, you go through so much. But had I not had my father, I'm not really sure where I would have been. There were many times as a single mom, I didn't know how I was gonna help the kids for Christmas, or how would I get to work, or the buses stop at this time, or can I get the kids to Girl Scouts? And it's so hard because for myself, where I came from, I wanted to give them everything I couldn't. Um, so coming from that place, personal, it's a really, really big thing for me to be part of this nonprofit and why I love it so much. In addition to being able to see firsthand how it's impacting people. That is a huge thing. I absolutely cannot say, oh, I can continue to say so much, but I would recommend everyone going to drivingsingleparents.org. You don't have to give $100 to make an impact. You could give $1 or you can send a message. There's so many ways we can give back. And I'm just really thankful and honored to be part of this nonprofit.
And we're grateful and honored to have you part of the nonprofit, because the personal experience that you bring to the table really, really helps resonate with all of us who are on the board. And then in addition to that, these single moms and single dad that receive the vehicle, they need community. They need some family. And so we always say that we're part of their family from now on. We call ourselves the DSP family. And so we don't just give away the cars, and we follow these people for their lives. We go to their weddings, to see the pictures of them buying their first home. We see them doing all the things. We just had somebody who had a baby, our first Driving Single Parents baby born since we started in 2017. So we love having you on for your personal experience, your professional experience. You have so much to bring to the table. And of course, I could go on and on about Driving Single Parents, but I would like to say thank you so much, Jessica, for featuring this nonprofit, because no one in the history of Little Give have featured Driving Single Parents as their nonprofit. So thank you very much for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, there's a first for everything, and I'm always, like I said, I always love to be the person that's the first for something, but for something that, again, Cindy, it's an amazing nonprofit, and it changes lives way beyond just one car, and that is the biggest thing for me, I'd like to say.
Thank you so much for being a part of it. Why don't you tell the audience where they can find you? They can get to know more about you, seek out your services, all the things.
Well, you can find me on my website, and that's at mypowerandpresence.com. So mypower, A-N-D, presence, P like Papa, R like Romeo, E as in S, Echo, S as in Sierra, E as in Echo, N like November, C like Charlie, E like Echo.com. Just to spell it phonetically, as well as you can find me on social media. You can find me on IG, LinkedIn, any social media, and it's all the same, the Jessica Aponte. You will find me. And please feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to be of service all the time.
Well, thank you so much for being part of Little Give today, Jessica. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing your story. It's going to help so many people. For everybody out there who's watching today, please go visit Jessica's website. She gave you all the details. Find out more. Seek out her services. I'm sure she can really help you with your PR needs. If you're interested in that nonprofit, go to the website. Find out more. And if it's something you're passionate about, go make a donation. $1 or $5 can make a huge impact to these nonprofits. So thank you everyone so much for watching. And thank you again, Jessica, for being on. And we'll see you all next week. If you enjoyed this episode of Little Give, head on over to our website at littlegive.com. You'll be able to find all the information about previous episodes and past guests that we've had on. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on Little Give, all the information is also on the website. And if you have a nonprofit that you love and would like to recommend be on the show, all of that information is also on the website. We really appreciate you watching today, and we can't wait to see you again next week.